Okay, Taurus, this is going to be your reading for work, spirituality, and romance over the Christmas season. So hopefully you take something out of this that helps you. That's my wish. Okay. My one Christmas wish. Alrighty, here we go. First card on the spiritual side. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Follow the moon. That is the emotional center. That's what they're saying. By this we mean the emotional center. Also follow those things that you don't understand. Get underneath them. Dig a little deeper for answers than just, I don't know. You know, if it's a I don't know, it's like, why don't we know? This kind of thing. That's what I'm getting here. So I need to get underneath our emotions a little bit here is what I'm getting on the spiritual side. Next card. Challenge your perception. We may have some belief systems about where our emotions come from and whatnot. Why is this kind of crooky? We may have to challenge our original way of being in order to come up with some answers here. Think out of the box a little bit. This is what I'm getting. We may have a certain belief system that has brought us to the no answer zone, and they're going, we need to look beyond that in order to gain new answers. I feel like this is really what drives us, what motivates us from an emotional center. We need to look there and find answers, and if we do not find the answers, not just to leave it, but to dig a little deeper than we have in the past. I feel like your perception is, well, I don't know, so I'm not going to look. And they're going, we challenge that by looking a little deeper, opening, another box and seeing if it doesn't come from there. Next card, respect your boundaries. This is huge, right? If we do not have boundaries, we need to create them, and once we've created them, we need to respect that. We need to get other people to respect it as well, because that's half the battle. Because if we set a boundary and we let someone drive over that boundary, we lose our self-esteem, we lose our self-worth. So we got to start at square one, or even, -1 here, and bring ourselves back to center. So respecting boundaries that we've laid, and again, don't how do you say, don't fake things. If you don't stand up for something unless you're willing to stand up for something all the way. And that's part of your diligence of looking in and going, okay, do I really feel like I need to create a barrier here? And if so, am I willing to stand up if it comes at me again? And they're going, and do so when it hits, right? Because in a sense, when we lay a boundary, we got to expect that person to kind of want to cross it, or somebody. So we have to, pay maintenance to that boundary after the fact. Can't just lay it and then let people trot all over it. Okay. On the above cards here, follow the moon. Again, dig into your emotional center a little more. Why? Figure out why you're feeling the feelings you're feeling. Where is it coming from? Go a little deeper. Man, I'm getting into these readings and start to clam up. All morning I'm coughing and hacking it out and getting rid of it, and it's like coming back. So an ability to speak up for the self might be a problem here. Creating the boundaries, yes, but to stand up and speak up for that boundary, no. Okay, follow the moon. I get so frustrated very quickly. On that energy, we have the Maiden of Air. Intuit and spontaneous. So intuition and spontaneity. Respect your boundaries. That's interesting. Because I feel like the Taurus... Oops, this is over here. Follow the moon. This is interesting as well, because I wanted to put it on the boundaries because that's what it applied to. The sense here is we may be using our intuition as to when to be driven, right? From above. This soul has to learn, so we have to put down limits. We haven't put down limits before. So we're using our intuition to draw the line, and it may be quite spontaneous. We may even do this in a blowout. If you're Taurus, we can sometimes let things go until it absolutely blows, and then we're going, okay, this is that and the other. And if we actually sat back and thought about it a little harder, we may not have put that boundary down, but they're saying it's not that it wasn't needed. It's absolutely needed. But we're just so resistant to put up a front towards others. Now, Taurus energy usually don't flow that way. So there's issues here. There's things that we have to get underneath, right? Because if we're not willing to bring something forward in order to create a boundary against others infiltrating, this needs to be looked at. But nonetheless, we may have had a blowout here and created a boundary quite spontaneously out of a rage and said, okay, that's enough, right? If we had time to think about it, we wouldn't have done this. But the sense is, spiritually, to evolve, we need to do this. So stand up for those rights here that you laid. Even if it seems like it's unjust, it's not. It is justified. So challenge your perception. What do we get there? The Six of Air. This is talking about animal guides. I feel guides, period. We may be another person that figures there should be more animals in the world and less people. We may be getting comfort from animals at this time, or comfort through animals from spirit, right? From spiritual energy coming at us. I feel like the Taurus is at a precipice here where we got to grow, or we're going to slow everything down in our life. So the universe is saying we grow, we move forward. This is all good. It's part of the plan. So I just feel a heavy guidance here, pulling us forward. Again, I don't feel that we're I feel we're in high resistance to go with what all the instinct that we got. But again, it's building. So then we blow it outward. Whatever way it comes out, we need to now honor that. Because when we look back and think about it, we're not going to regret putting down a boundary or paying maintenance to that boundary, right? So respect your boundaries. What do we get there? Look at this. Eight of Air. Power of the mind. Yes, to go inside. So we may be starting to hit the mark here, is what they said. We're hitting the mark. Meaning, if things on the outside aren't quite going right, go inside and take a checkpoint. So I feel like the Taurus is somewhat in here. I feel like they may have had somewhat of a blowout or an explosion of words that was quite spontaneous, but was so on point. So much so that it was something that needed to be said, and it was kind of forced out in, a fit of anger or a fit of rage or whatever. But the thing was, it's valid. It's still valid. We didn't go cross any boundaries here. We stood up for ourselves, and we should have stood up for ourselves about 10 steps back, right? So this is what they're saying. Now we're going in to realize whether or not that is valid. And they're going, of course it's valid, And the Taurus is very careful, maybe too meticulously careful of what they say outward, that they didn't say anything at all. So this is part of that. Now it came out, and we're going to deal with it. And you know what? When we look back and we look at, what did I do here? Ooh, did I say? No, I'm valid in that. I'm valid in this. And maybe I should have said that a long time ago. No. This is what I'm getting. So it's all good. We feel like we might have made a mishap here because of the way that it came out. And I feel like it was somewhat enraging, somewhat, like, okay, I'm at the end of my rope, you're going to get it kind of thing. But it was all valid stuff. We're standing up for our rights, and they're kind of looking at themselves going, yeah, this is valid. So this is the Taurus and the spiritual energy. Okay, now as we move on to the moon, right? The emotional center here. Spontaneous way that it may have come about, but the intuitive nudge that we got in that way. We have 20 judgment, past review. So we may be putting judgment upon ourselves. Again, I feel a very meditative state coming in, like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. But as we analyze and look back, we start to validate our own selves partially, because our intuitive self is saying, wait a minute, this got through, and this should have gotten through before. So, past review, we're looking back on what happened here. Again, some kind of a kerfuffle, but the thing is, it's not a kerfuffle if we're both fighting. It's a boundary that's been laid, and you back off, because you cross a boundary here, and I'm standing up for that. So this is all good. And The Taurus, yeah, just speak. Just speak. Just keep speaking. Because it's like my throat is just wanting to close right the hell up. I can't get nothing out. It's like, like literally there's stuff in there wanting to close it right off. So I can't even get air. So for this far removed from speaking, this is not good spiritually. You need to connect with people. And some of them you may have to connect in order to tell them to back off. Okay. I'm just very empathetic today, so this should be fun. Air. Animal guide. Okay. Being guided highly is really what I get from this card, and this could be through animals as well as soothing us. We may go to animals or spend time with animals to help kind of revive our soul a little bit, because animals are unconditionally loving, right? They don't hold grudges and they don't poke at us with snide comments and whatnot. They just are there. You love me, and if not, then they're not there. Or they don't hold a grudge. They don't hold like we do in the adult world. Okay. On top of that, we get the Emperor. And in this deck, it is the path to growth. And that is really what spiritually, for your highest good, they want you to do. And that is why this all came about. This whole scenario. And I do feel it is a situation that came about. Man, I'm telling you. I was coughing a lot in the past, but this is extreme. It's like I got a flap in there and wants to close. And I'm not letting it. So there's a high resistance, really, is what a high resistance speak from this. And if we don't, we just won't grow. That's all. We just won't grow. We won't get anywhere, and our world will be stagnant, and we'll, dip into negative energies, and we'll become a part of that. There she goes again. Just close it up. We can't speak from what we do not feel safe speaking from what we feel. So we need to get to a place where we can. Or just speak it and just say, this is my boundary, that's your boundary, respect me, I will respect you. Or try to, right? This kind of thing. Power of the mind. Sorry, guys. That's highly annoying. I would probably stop the video right now. But I cannot help it. This is just choking. And this ain't no heavy-duty choker either. Like, it's literally closing up on me. I can't do nothing but to clear it out. So, Taurus, shooting energy there to clear that sucker out. Man, Seven of Pentacles. We are, what it feels like to me, we are so repressed that we are going to explode ourselves. It's not even our fault. It's oppressive energy. We're so oppressed by everybody else around us, keeping us down, and we're willing to do that. We really need to stand up and speak our truth. Seven of Pentacles on top of the meditative. That is the stasis. So that is the locked in energy of staying still and hopefully not quiet, because the boundaries and the what's the word, the boundaries and the standing guard of the boundaries is the personal growth they want you to go through. So let's get out of here so you can breathe. This is how repressive it is. It's very, very repressive. So on the work front here, let's see if we get any answers here. First card for work. We have the Four of Swords, and unfortunately the Four of Swords here means kind of like time wasting, procrastinating, not wanting to get to things, or being distracted by other things, and just work is taking a sidestep. So we're really not allowing work to come in our field. We're really letting everything else come in at this time. And I know Christmas over the holidays, it just happens. But here it's more of a omission of work. Like, I don't want to work, I'm procrastinating. Like a little kid, it's like, I don't want to do, let's get into something else here. This is what's going on. So in the sense of not wanting to really go in a work direction at all. So we're just doing everything we can to avoid it. Next card. Knave of Swords. That's interesting, because the Knave of Swords, that's like the page, is an energy. If you notice, there's a picture of a woman on that kite and they're flying it up in the air. And the sense here, right, Usually the Knave of Swords is about curiosity. This is kind of the opposite. It's about a releasing of an energy. These two here, just give me a minute. Oh, it is a fairy. Yeah, thanks. So I always thought it was two people, but it's a lady and a fairy and a picture of somebody being released. And it seems to be a fairy as well. So just give me a minute to glance over that, because it's a sense of needing to let something go, and the picture can be a symbol of maybe someone in our life that needs to kind of we need to release from, and the angels are guiding us highly to do this. Again, avoidant energy, and this has to do with work. So let's move forward here. 8, the Strength card. I feel like we're needing strength at this time to release something here. And it may be the cause of the procrastination energy that we have. It may be why we kind of don't want to go to work, because there's either someone there that we had a confrontation with, or something there that is in our way, or we see as in our way, and we don't want to go back to work because that's there. Something blocking us, really. And the procrastination is a symptom of this. There's something there, so we're procrastinating in order to avoid it. We're needing strength at this time to overcome that. Again, Christmas over the holidays is going to be a hard time to kind of put all in, because we're really on rest mode. But there is something here. They say whether there's holiday or no, we would be doing the same thing. But it's kind of like it's legal now that there's holidays, because then I can back off a little more and still have, then be accepted for it, this kind of thing. So an avoidance of work. Now, the tree cards, grounded energy here. We have the silver fir or elm. Talking about delight and awe, and this is on top of the procrastination. So I feel like this is hidden underneath what we haven't found out yet. And this may be one of the reasons, or one of the boundaries that we laid here, trying to deal with things. There's a great union here wanting to happen in a work area, where we can be quite delighted in what we're doing, and who we're doing with, this kind of thing in a work area. Now, on the Knave of Swords, again, an energy of releasing something from our energy field. And it may be a person, an individual, or a situation. On top of that, well, we get the Aspen, which is really a strong, aggressive energy, talking about courage and steadfastness. So there is something here we need to confront, either at work or within our spiritual side, that is really blocking us from moving forward. Without, the highway's clear kind of thing. There's something here we need to deal with on a work front. And I feel like that is something that we don't want to deal with, which is why we're avoiding, because it may be awkward or hard, and that's the strength that we need in order to overcome this. And then once we do, we're free and clear, we're released from all of that heaviness. So there's a bit of courage needed here in order to deal with things, so that we can go forward quite cleanly in our career sector. Now, on the Strength card, what do we get? The apple tree. About choices and healing, right? So this kind of makes sense. We could choose to gain our courage and go forward and deal with this situation, or we can choose to stay away from it. And then, and the sense I get is, if we don't confront this head on, we're really going to stay stagnant and be kind of frustrated. Frustrated, a little bit high for that energy, but it's going to be irritating. It's like we can't move forward. It's almost like either we have someone at work that we got to deal with, we had a confrontation with, and it's just bad blood there, so we need to fix that. Or, somehow make a compromise, or somehow, even tend to it to release it, right? Because sometimes you can't fix it, because it may be one viewpoint against another and nobody's given. But you have to just kind of confront it and say, okay, that's it. I know you have a viewpoint. I have a viewpoint. It's not going to change, so we're just going to have to deal. And boom, that's it. So And that in itself may be healing, is to agree to disagree kind of thing. But we have to have the courage to face it head on instead of kind of avoidance, is what I get of it. So, yeah, on the last line here, as we go back to delight and awe. So either it was something that we had a lot of good stuff, good, happy, like communal stuff. Like I feel like, yeah, everybody's getting along. Then all of a sudden, no, we can't, because something was broached, right? And this day and age, it could be bloody anything, because of the way everybody is so sensitive to everything nowadays. They kind of need to relax, like they need to take a pill. So, because we go from delight to needing healing, right? And the courage in between to deal with all this. So, just a situation that needs to be monitored and also needs to be kind of attended to in some way. So, okay, on top of the delight and awe, we get Seven of Cups. Yeah, this speaks to debauchery. Now, in here, we got two people kind of struggling. All the cups are spilt, so a lot of emotions have been unlaid here, spilt over. So, an emotional outburst is what this makes me think of. They have debauchery. So that's, a debauchery, like a kerfuffle. It's like a situation that's just not running smooth. That's what's going on. So there's your validation in pictures. And on the courage and the aspen, right? Somebody here was enraged and they just kind of blew it out sideways. And now it's kind of like dealing with, what do you call that? The aftermath of it, right? So on top of there, Princess of Swords, and she is courageous in her own way. She is curious and wants to get underneath things. She's got her sword up. She's ready to talk and tell the truth. This is what I'm getting. So, again, spiritually, I get that even though it came out in a forceful, aggressive way, whatever happened here, there was something that came out that was very valid. And that was the boundary that had to be set between these two people. Because I've had enough, and that needed to be said. And so the Princess of Swords here is ready and willing, and I feel like that might be the Taurus energy. It may also be the opponent. Coming in and saying, you know what, okay, it's time. Maybe enough time has passed where we've cooled our jets or whatever, but somebody feels valid in getting underneath all of this in a different way, not just from anger. And again, that could be Taurus or the other person here. So on the choice, right? The choices that need to be made here and the healing that will come. What do we get there? We get the Fool, 0, a new beginning. Yeah. So that is about starting fresh and moving forward. Again, there's a lot of courage here. The tiger scratching at your back. And I feel like the tiger is a symbol of all these things building up. And it may be one person, maybe a lot of people coming in our direction and just throwing us stuff, same stuff. And we're getting it from all ends, and we, until we can have it no more. And then this one in front here is going forward in a different way, right? The crocodile is kind of that. And then the swirl is really the spiritual center saying, just jump off the bloody cliff. We'll deal with the crocodile when we get in there. We just, I saw a video the other day. Don't ask me, but, this is what they do. They throw them in there and they say, okay, well, do you relate? I hope I never relate to this, but there was a video of a crocodile and this woman. She was caretaking. And for whatever reason, I don't know if there were people watching. I can't even remember now because I was so zoomed in on this woman and this crocodile, but they're showing it through a gate, whatever. She was in there either feeding him or training him or whatever. And she was kind of showing on display for other people. I think there were people there. And somehow the crocodile got a hold of her hand. And so she was like, well, so it happened so quickly. But of course, being as experienced as she was on the floor, and this crocodile was in a bin that was about 3 feet up. Now, she instinctively jumped in there knowing that this thing is going to go into a death roll, because they just start spinning once they grab onto something, right? Because that's how they get their prey, which was this woman at this time. And so she jumped in there knowing, if I stay here, my arm's going to get ripped off. So I'm going to go with the roll, right? And pretty macabre scenario. She did come out okay, and her hand was ripped up, but she's fine. So it's not a bad thing. She learned, and she knew, and she did the right thing, because her jumping in there really did save her arm from one disconnecting from her, because her body would have stayed stagnant and her arm would have flipped. Well, something's got to give, and that crocodile ain't letting go. So she jumped in there knowing that if I roll, I can save my arm from coming off, so there's a sense of this. If I jump forward here in a new energy, I can save myself, because I can grow into a new field here and deal with new things. And maybe this is the way I need to deal with things from now on. That's a sense I get. And it's funny, the crocodile, how they do this. They tie things together. And the crocodile's waiting there. But if you can death roll with them, then you just carry on. And it's a little bit of hurt. But we go through a lot more learning, right? We're not going to lose our arm. We'll just go forward. And that's kind of the thing. I'm like, a crocodile, really? Like, going forward? Like, who's going to want to face crocodile? Like, but at the same time, right? And then the healing caduceus is right there on our back. So we are in healing from this. And I feel like if we just gain our courage to jump, and who knows, maybe there's a little rock over here on his head, and we just have to take a leap over that crocodile, right? It's out of view, so you don't know. But there's a way forward here. And it may kind of sting to, like, either maybe we have our pride and we don't want to come forward or whatever, or it may sting, or we don't know how to go forward. But if we do it, then things will unfold in a spiritual way, and we'll be guided in that moment, right? Because there was it here? No, there was a spontaneity card that came up in the spiritual, and there was very much... we learn on the fly here, because we really cannot force a Taurus into anything, but they will get cornered where they have to fight their way out. And when they do, they've got all the tools they need. They always do, but this may be a self-esteem issue, whatever. I'm not going to get too deep, but the bottom line is we need to confront this situation in order to get through it, right? And it's creating a great fear, but it will also create a new beginning if we do so. And it will open up fields for us to solve things like this, arguments or quarrels or whatever. It will give us a new toolbox in order to go forward decently. So that's your work. Very much somebody at work here having a nemesis or something. That's way on the deep end there, but somebody here that we just either got into an argument with. At one time it was good and smooth, but no more. And I feel like it's somewhat of an impasse. Why? Because our boundaries were hit. Okay, so the love side. Let's see if we can lighten things up there. 12, the hangman. Alrighty. This guy is hung upside down because he needs to look at things different. Right? Outside the box. This kind of thing. Something, perception change. Okay, next. 5, not good. 5 of Swords. This is about great disappointment. So it may have been our partner. This may all be wrapped up in our partner. It's just like part 1, part 2, part 3. Because sometimes, you have a reading, and it's because it envelops your life, right? You may have a work life, but we may be, at this time, something blew out in our love relationship, and it's the center of our universe, so this is all we see. I do feel it's all connected here. I feel like we may have had a blowout with a partner because of the way we're looking at things, and it's disappointing and sad, and creates some havoc here, but we're needing to look at things from a different perspective in order to understand our way out here. Now, King of Wands. He is, in this deck, he's very kind of, I don't know, It gives off an energy like, you come to me, you deal with me, like sort of emperor, but righteous emperor. Like, come to me and you talk to me, like I'm not putting in any work. And maybe this is the boundary that we have coming across here. Maybe this is someone here who feels like you need to do all the work, and we didn't see that clearly until now, and we need to look at things differently from here on in, this kind of thing. Okay. Heavy. On top of the Hangman, what do we get? 13. This is about daydreams. Can be about things in our mind that we, it can be. Now we had a card here about daydreaming at work and procrastinating. I feel this highly connected. We may be up in our head, imagining things the way we want them to be, or just in our head distracted because our reality right in front of us is not so wonderful. Okay, as we move on to the disappointment, here we have, the rider, which is good. The rider comes in to give us some news, and it's news that is usually has a good connotation to it. I guess we'll see by the next card. We're going into our dream time. We're going into our thoughts. We may gain a message through our thoughts, which may be intuition, right? Taurus may be going into their mindscape and letting everything run around in there, but they may be coming up with some great answers or solutions to this problem, like how to fix it, right? How do I fix this? How do I get past it? Because the rider always brings good news, exciting news, things that help us move along the way. So help us move forward. They're riding on a rainbow, for crying, right? So it's all good. And rainbow, not but rainbows here. So we're thinking on the bright side. I feel like this is because we're up in our head coming up with things. So hopefully we ground out somewhere here and it makes sense. Now this may be a person you're dealing with, maybe a person in your air, fire. As I said, air, my head didn't get to the fire. So Aries, Leo, Sag, maybe someone you're dealing with. And I get a sense of, I'm out. I am not invested in this. That's what I get from this guy. But you bring things to me and we'll see, So on top of that, well, that's kind of the energy I was picking up, frankly. May have been expressing it on the light side. The 8 is this is a sarcophagus. This is a coffin. This is the end, right? The death. So this is something needed to end in order for us to go in a new way. And again, it may be dealing with a partner in a certain way. This needed to end because we put a boundary down. Now we're going to deal in a new way. It can be ending of dealing with a partner, period. Or it could be the end of just the way the two of us are intermingling. Ooh, okay. As we move into the dream time, again, our head is up in the clouds here. We're coming up with some good energy for what we think, but this leads me to believe that, I don't know, we may also be thinking about bad things as well. So on top of that energy, we get the 3 of Pentacles. Now, 3 of Pentacles, that's about good lovemaking. Grounded. We feel comfortable with that person. The person feels comfortable with us. This is what that's about. The next card on the rider, we have the King of Cups. The King of Cups is about emotional fulfillment. I do not know what is going on here, if this is our partner. If somebody has expanded in this way where they are starting to take high emotions into account. Part of his job here is being very attentive physically. He is tending to her. He's supplying her with all of the, goodies on a food platter. And he's also tender with her, stroking her hair. And then the pudding in his hand is saying, I can emotionally give to a partner. This is what. So either this is here or this is lacking and this is part of the problem in the relationship, this kind of thing. Okay, on the sarcophagus, yeah, the Hermit. That's somebody removing themselves from the situation on a physical level, we may have had intimacy here quite highly, may not be getting the emotional support that we need from the partner, so therefore are removing ourselves. Boom. There it is. Okay, next row. On top of the good sex life, we get the death. Wow. How much more? Sorry, it's not fun when you're in it. I'm telling you. There's a sense of an end to the physical side here because of something that happened. I do feel this carries through everything. I feel like this is all that the Taurus can think about, is this problem that we had with a partner. Now, because of all of this lack of, I feel like it's a great lack of emotional support. We do not have any King of Cups here. We have a King of Wands, and it may be in a negative energy where he is just not giving any support in any way emotionally. I feel like this guy is just gone. So we need this and we want this. So we are putting, the death trap on the sex side so that we are just not going to give forward in this way until something changes. Now, this could be you or your partner. Next card. 4 of Wands. Look at this. Okay. Is this yeah. 4 of Wands is about stability and happiness. These are all the things we want. To be riding on a rainbow, but this is what we don't have. We don't have it. But this is what we want. We have realized this over this time. Now we're going to move to why we moved away from everything here. 10 of Swords, yeah, because we were betrayed. Stabbed in the back. High betrayal. These are 10 swords, not just one. Again, I felt a building. And now on an emotional realm here, it can be an actual betrayal, lied to a degree that it's just a deal breaker. We're looking for the stability. Now, I usually say that what's down the center runs. But what they were telling me with these cards here is this is possible for us, but it may not be possible with the partner that we have. We're just going to continue to get this, unfortunately. So those that are single or in a coupled relationship, this applies. We're not going to get what we want from the partner that we get. We're just going to continue. We have already continued down this road, stab after stab after stab, and we're not getting any different. Is it possible to get love? Yes, not from this partner. They need you to know that, not from this partner. Another partner, we could have happiness, stability, love, and emotions, and great and wonderful things, but not from this partner. Not good news. Okay, on the death card, the end. So somebody has put an end to the physical side here in order to deal with other situations, other things. What do we get from Casanova? The 10 of Wands, which speaks to risk, battle of wits, and calling a bluff. So there may be in this relationship, somebody may have said a threat to the partner. Like, if you don't do this, I'll leave. And they may be bluffing. Or you may be calling someone on their bluff. Okay? So if we are bluffing, we need to fess up and admit that or deal with that in some kind of way. And if we are standing up to a partner that's bluffing, beware, because this is very serious stuff here. Yeah, I feel like the Taurus is dealing with the bluff. I feel like the Taurus may have said something here or insinuated something here that they can't follow through on. Okay, the 4 of Wands, again, this is attainable, but again, not with a partner we're with. So this may be one of those that need to bust apart in order to find true love. We're realizing here that this is not doing it. Now, this is really, they're going, we just need to come to terms with that. Just deal with that before we think about what we're going to do. Just come to terms with the fact that the partner we're with is not suitable for us. And deal with that first and heal from that first and then go forward. Because it's almost like this is such a burdensome thing that we can't deal with it. And they're going, just deal with the fact that the partner is not making us happy. Deal with that. And go forward. Now, on top of the page, the Four of Wands, we have the Page of Cups. This is Casanova himself, the sincere lover. He is open-hearted, and even though, you know, the name, right? He's got a reputation, this Casanova. He's pretty quick. He's a Knight of Wands. He flips from here to there. He is sincere, and he is open-hearted, and he is trying to open that. And that may have been the case here. We may have gone forward in our love and said, you know what? I'm going to be vulnerable. I'm going to explain to my partner what I feel. And we may have got stabbed by that information, or, you know, used against us, or didn't get the reaction we wanted to a degree that we realized a heavy, heavy burden here, that this relationship is just not functional for me. I'm not ever going to be happy here because we have someone here. And I'll tell you this, where is he? I think it's this guy. Nope. Where is he? There's one guy here anyway. In my mind, I'm seeing a card. He is just not going to put any effort in anyway. He just does not do this. This Knight of, even though he's a king, this one, even though he's a king, he just sits back and lets everything come to him. He's lazy in love, this guy. Even though he's a king, he's got his crown. He may be married, but he's lazy, and he's got a little bit. This lamp here is an illumination. He needs to be illuminated. He's not quite there. So that's the problem, is this guy's married, but he's lazy. Okay. And there's an ending coming here. Now, that may be universally driven here. This has got to come to an end. If we're hanging on to something that's dead end, we're just not going to be happy. And this is why we're continually getting stabbed after stabbed after stabbed. Is because how long is it going to take us to realize we don't belong here? And then this is us removing ourselves because our passion is gone for our partner, because we used to be physical with them, and now it's getting to the point where we can't be physical anymore because we've lost our love. So we got to really deal with some issues here. And if we can't, you know, confront the partner, well, that kind of says something too. Okay, so on top of the Hermit card, what do we get there? For affection and communication. Okay, so here's a little bit of hope here. There might be a physical, how do I say that? There might be a physical entrance here where we can get through to the partner, where we can talk to the partner, where we can make this guy get off his chair and do some work. What does that have to do with? Sex. So this woman might be using sex as, or this man may be using sex as a strategy, saying, you know, I'm not going to give you because you've done me wrong. And if you come and inquire, this kind of strategy, if you come and inquire and figure out why, then maybe you're worthy to know why. And if not, you know, we may just continue in this physical way. This may be why we're attracted to the partner, because we have physical compatibility here, but not a lot of good stuff on the outside. We got a lot of, where's that card? You know, a lot of backstabbing going on, and that's just not right. Like, we need to be, that person is backstabbing, needs to be accountable for that. So, yeah, kind of complex here, but really, I think the Taurus is coming to terms with the fact they're not happy in this relationship. What happens from here on in? We may continue. We may have put a stop to the sex in order to get underneath a certain issue, but we're going to continue to bring the sex back in, and hopefully through that, maybe communicate when we're in the bedroom, which again, be careful there. Well, you know, you may not be able to turn them off of it, period, is the sense. So we're always going to come back to the sex side. So if we communicate in there when we're open and vulnerable, we may get somewhere. But again, not to attack the person, but to say your piece in a loving way. Okay, so this is kind of what I'm getting. This is a strategy the Taurus might be taking on at this time. Again, and then there's like, you know, the Battle of Wills here, like, this might be a little more, how do you say, down and out than I'm giving it credit for, but nonetheless, okay. Whew. On the 10 here, having to do with calling a bluff, right? What do we get there? Eye of Ra, shield from evil forces in the feminine. Okay, so if you are feminine Taurus, you may be utilizing all your wits in a negative way and shooting it at the partner. Evil eyes, sneering, and not getting to the point is a sense. And they're showing me that strength card again. Bring your strength and confront it head on. Don't give evil eyes. Don't give snide comments. Deal with them head on, and then you can carry on unencumbered, because you are carrying a bag of shit around. And it stinks. You don't want to do that. You deal with them head on. You say, this is what's bothering me. Can you fix it or not? And again, don't bluff. Say what you're going to do what you're going to say, and go from there. And make sure that you, it's not a big game play, that we just deal with each other head on. And if you got a problem, I got a problem with you, either you're going to fix it or we're going to have more problems, And it seems like that's just the road we've been on. We don't fix it and we have more problems because we're not dealing with things head on. So maybe just confronting, having the strength to confront the partner head on. This may be what we're avoiding all along. So I feel there's a sincerity from the Taurus going forward. This is how I feel. But we may not be dealing, with the hard issues. We're trying to pump it up with love before any of the mess underneath is cleaned up. Now, what do we get there? Water, alchemy, and intuition. So we are using our intuition to try and change things, is really what I get here. We're trying to change the way that our lover deals with us. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. I could go down a rabbit hole there, but I'll leave it out. We're just literally trying to change our, we're trying to change things. And we're using our intuition, which is never a bad thing. Use your intuition, as long as that's what you're tapping into. Now, affection and communication. Again, I feel like we're going to go back to the sex area because we really can't stay away from each other that long, but the issues not dealt with is the sense I get here. So we're going to try and deal with them in the bedroom, or is that where the issues are? This kind of thing. We get earth, solid, and sensual. So yeah, I'm trying to figure out if we're trying to bring, because there's an energy sitting here of just not wanting to deal with all the riffraff of the relationship. We get mad at the partner. We don't solve the things. We give it some time and we jump back in physically. We're holding off physically because we had something there that we wanted to discuss. What happened to that? It's still there, they're saying. Now, even though we're grounded on the sensual side, there's a lot here that needs to be dealt with spiritually, emotionally, physically, this kind of thing. And we need to deal with it head on. People are just letting everything slide to a degree that we're not, we're not happy in the relationship anymore, but we're going to continue because there's just, there's some sex stuff here that works. So, we'll leave it. This kind of thing. But they're like, no, because that's what's going to lead to a crash at the end. If we deal with these things as we go, we can prolong that. But if we don't deal with these things, it's going to blow in a big way. And not a good way, right? So, yeah. Okay. Kind of a tipping point or turning point for the Taurus needing to deal with this situation. I'm not really getting single stuff. I'm getting, this could apply to someone in a single situation, but I'm getting more of a long-term commitment here. We've got a lot of little irritations that are adding up, and we don't want to deal with them because we want to have sex with our partner, one. And if we bring that up, then the other one's going to be bitchy, and they're not going to want to go into the bedroom, and da-da-da-da. This is all, so we're kind of avoiding it because the sex is good. So that will accumulate on you, and it will accumulate to a degree that it can create an ending altogether. So beware of that, because we need to deal with our issues as they go. Okay. Ooh, Taurus. It's heavy. It's heavy. I mean, I'm making light of everything here to keep it kind of light, but it's heavy. It's really the beginning of a possible ending here. And if we don't, unfortunately, if we don't bring up the shit to clear it away, it will happen quicker than it will if we deal with things as we go. I hate to say this, but there is an ending here in sight. When the ending happens depends on how we deal with the situations in the relationship. And I think the Taurus is just starting to open up to that idea that I'm not happy here. But they don't want to even think about going in another direction. But they aren't even thinking about how to heal this one. So the thing is we've got to put the effort in to do what we need to do here and now. And then if down the road it doesn't survive and we end up in a place where we want to leave, then we're more prepared for that. Instead of a big, holding everything back, we have a big blowout, somebody cheats, somebody goes running off, this kind of thing, right? We want to be more mature about it. But anyway, Taurus, that is your heavy reading. It does seem like everything was kind of wrapped up in a scenario here, and it all pointed back to, I don't know, I could be wrong, but back to a relationship of a personal nature. So take care over the holidays. I hope you have a good holiday season. I mean, there's a re-engaging coming, and then it's just part of the process, right? I mean, that's kind of part of the flow within a normal relationship anyway, is a back and forth of all of this stuff, and the ability to come in and discuss and compromise is shows the maturity level here. Okay, so anyway, take care, guys. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. Stay safe, have fun, and be kind.